Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
The mistake really is there's too much BS floating out there, and now it's out of our hands. There's no way to control it, so now they're saying they're going to control it. I want to see what they're going to do.
My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex.
All right.
What'd she say?
Just when you thought the chaos might have calmed down, boom, The View is back in the spotlight, and it's messier than ever. You'd think by now the drama would have cooled off, right? Wrong. The volume's still maxed out, and the woke nonsense is still flying like confetti at a celebrity meltdown. But this time, they messed with the wrong duo. Out of nowhere came Bill Maher and Caroline Leavitt, a totally unexpected combo, and they came in swinging.
To get past this endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught saying the wrong thing, the right response to speech you don't like is more speech.
What followed was a total takedown that had everyone talking. So what exactly were the ladies of The View ranting about this time, and how did Bill and Caroline clap back with the perfect storm of wit, sarcasm, and brutal truth? Don't worry, we've got all the juicy details, the mic drop moments, the awkward silences, and the showdown nobody saw coming. Buckle up. This isn't just gossip, this is war. Now, you might be wondering,
Listen, take him seriously and take him literally.
I don't think that we have to. I think it would be remiss of us to not say Joe Biden knows how to do this. Yes, he knows how to do this. He's quite good at this. And you know, you can't refute anything with him because he just, when I say him, I mean
he rambles.
Trump.
Yeah.
He tends to just.
But can I mention one thing?
why is Bill Maher suddenly preaching? Peace between political enemies? What's behind this unexpected love your rival moment? Well, buckle up, because the ladies of The View are not having it. Turns out Maher's slow drift toward the right is ruffling more than a few feathers at that table. But what really lit the match? One headline-making dinner with none other. Then, brace yourself, Donald Trump. Yes, that dinner. The moment word got out, Whoopi Goldberg lost it on live TV.
How dare you be so flippant, man? Listen, nobody on the planet really wants to go through this. This is not something we're doing because it's, really gratifying. This is what we're doing to protect our families. And you don't have to do it, but stay away from everybody.
She was fuming, like ready to flip the table, furious. Just the idea that Maher would willingly break bread with the man they've crowned public enemy #1? That was unforgivable. She was so outraged she couldn't even bring herself to say Trump's name. Just that man. That's how deep the rage ran, but trust us. Whoopi's meltdown was just the opening act. What followed was a full-scale character assassination aimed straight at Bill Maher.
As you know, 12 days ago, I had dinner with President Trump, a dinner that was set up by my friend Kid Rock, because we share a belief that there's got to be something better than hurling insults from 3,000 miles away. And let me first say that to all the people who treated this like it was some kind of summit meeting, you're ridiculous. Like I was going to sign a treaty or something. I have no power. I'm a comedian, and he's the most powerful leader in the world. I'm not the leader of anything, except maybe a contingent of centrist-minded people who think there's got to be a better way of running this country than hating each other every minute.
The ladies of The View weren't just angry, they were scorched earth furious. To them, Maher hadn't just shared a dinner, he'd committed the ultimate betrayal. He crossed the line. In their eyes, this wasn't about politics anymore. This was personal. For Whoopi and the panel, sitting at the same table as Trump wasn't just tone-deaf, it was downright treasonous. No jokes, no clever comebacks, no can't we all just get along speeches could erase that moment. Because when you dine with the man they've demonized for years, you're not just sharing a meal, you're breaking the unspoken code. And to them, that's unforgivable.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class.
I know as I say that, millions of liberal sphincters just tightened. Oh my God, Bill, are you going to say something nice about him? What I'm going to do is report exactly what happened. You decide what you think about it. And if that's not enough pure Trump hate for you, I don't give a f.
If you know Bill Maher at all, you already know he wasn't about to let this slide quietly. And sure enough, on a recent episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, he came out swinging hard. With that trademark blend of biting sarcasm and razor-sharp wit, Maher went straight for the jugular, targeting Whoopi Goldberg and anyone else still clutching their pearls over his White House dinner. He dismantled their outrage piece by piece with a ruthless honesty that left no room for doubt. Bottom line, he doesn't need their approval.
I want to talk about Whoopi Goldberg because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So everybody was like, oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma. First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no thing as karma, okay? Get over that. Whoopi attacks me on a regular basis. She says stupid shit on a regular basis. They just happen to coincide.
And trust me, he's not asking for it. It was classic Maher, bold, unapologetic, and sharper than ever. Before unleashing his savage verbal takedown of Whoopi Goldberg, which, trust me, you don't want to miss, Maher made one thing crystal clear: this is still America, where democracy means something. He reminded everyone that having different opinions doesn't have to spark hatred, and disagreement doesn't have to explode into rage.
But life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
You don't have to lose your mind just because someone sees the world differently, he said. That's called civil discourse, a concept that the ladies of The View seem to have tossed out the window, right along with last week's headlines. Maher wasn't just defending himself here. He was standing up for the principle that we can disagree without turning into mortal enemies. Sounds fair, right? Well, not to Whoopi. She saw Maher's stance as a personal attack, and she was ready to fight back. Whoopi didn't hold back. She even went as far as comparing Trump to Kamala Harris, and in doing so, accidentally revealed
we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and sex, and all of this other BS, quite frankly.
Her real loyalty wasn't to values, but to politics. Deep down, it's clear. If Kamala had been the one inviting Maher to dinner, Whoopi wouldn't have batted an eye. In fact, she probably would have been the one throwing the after-party every single compliment Maher gave to Trump. If those words had been aimed at Kamala, Whoopi would have been clapping louder than a seal at a show. But because it was Trump, suddenly, those same words were a betrayal. This wasn't about principle or consistency. It was pure, unfiltered partisanship. And Whoopi just laid that truth bare for everyone to see. And this, right here, is exactly why Bill Maher commands respect. He doesn't just preach free speech, he lives it. When the outrage machine fired up against him, Maher didn't flinch. Not even when Whoopi Goldberg publicly called him out on national TV, he stood his ground, firm, unwavering, and unapologetic. That kind of grit, it's rare these days, and it deserves serious credit, especially since Whoopi's explosive outbursts sparked backlash from all sides. Some voices even called for her to step down. But Maher? He didn't play the victim. Instead, he doubled down on his beliefs, leaning even harder into his principles. And that's exactly what makes him stand apart. Still, before signing off, he wasn't done. Maher dropped a few truth bombs that left everyone reeling. Ouch. Did Bill Maher seriously just compare Whoopi Goldberg to a hunter and himself to a lion? You heard that right. Say what you want about Maher, but the man knows how to craft a killer metaphor. And honestly, he nailed it. In this wild media jungle, Whoopi stormed in like a righteous hunter, guns blazing, ready to take down the traitor. At the table, but Maher? Cast as the prey, he flipped the script and instead of running scared, he fired back with razor-sharp wit and well-aimed verbal shots that caught her completely off guard. By the end, it wasn't the lion limping away. It was the hunter left shaken and rattled. And just when
And the irony in all of this is that Joe Biden and the Democrats and these ladies on The View constantly say President Trump is the alleged threat to democracy, when in fact they themselves are wishfully thinking that President Trump will be imprisoned when he has not been convicted of any crimes. That is the real threat to democracy. Voters see that, and that's why President Trump continues his dominance.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was just warming up. Caroline Leavitt hit the nail on the head, the moral unraveling fueled by modern day. Wokeness has seeped into every corner of our lives, leaving behind a wreckage of division and destruction. What once pretended to be empathy and progress. It's now a toxic storm of censorship, identity politics run wild, and constant culture wars. News outlets aren't reporting facts anymore, they're manufacturing narratives. Universities churn out ideology instead of education. And Whoopi Goldberg, she's no longer just an opinionated host. She's become a poster child for the very ideology-poisoning public discourse.
The mistake really is there's too much BS floating out there, and now it's out of our hands. There's no way to control it, so now they're saying they're going to control it. I want to see what they're going to do.
Her blind loyalty to woke dogma shows how celebrity power can be twisted into a weapon, used to shame, silence, and slander anyone who dares to speak up. Instead of fostering real conversation, she fans the flames of a cancel culture that's tearing society apart. And with that, Caroline Leavitt turned up the heat on Whoopi even more, laying down a challenge Whoopi won't forget anytime soon.
My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex.
Caroline Leavitt didn't just go after The View panelists, she obliterated them. And honestly, they had it coming. For years, the women of The View have been serving up a steady diet of half-truth, spin, and straight-up fiction, all dressed up as feel-good commentary. Remember when they hailed Joe Biden as the best thing to happen to America? Even while it was painfully obvious he was struggling with cognitive issues, Kamala Harris crowned the savior of democracy, despite her constant stumbles through speeches that often sounded like a jumble of buzzwords. It's all pure propaganda wrapped up in pearls, polished sets, and that trademark high-pitched laughter. But thank God Caroline Leavitt wasn't there to play nice. Armed with cold, hard facts, calm composure, and an iron backbone, she shattered their delusions on live national TV. Of course, Whoopi tried to fire back with her usual antics. But Leavitt's response? Absolutely legendary. Whoopi Goldberg's fury over one dinner revealed a hard truth. Those who shout the loudest about tolerance often practice the least of it. Leavitt came in swinging. Together, they ripped apart the illusions propped up by the media elite. This wasn't just another headline, it was a cultural milestone. More Americans are waking up, and the tired old games of shame and spin are finally losing their grip. The tide is turning. Truth is pushing back, and with that, we wrap up today's episode. If you love bold, unfiltered commentary, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Share this with your friends. They'll thank you. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.